Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2020, episode number 26. It's April 27th of 2022. Somehow in game, they survived the coronavirus. Of course, in real life, we have the terrible news that the NBA has been suspended, or at least at the time of recording. I'm recording this nearly a week in advance. The last episode of the series just released a day ago at the time of recording, and it also happens to be that one day ago at time of recording. I'll stop saying that the NBA has suspended the league after Gobert came down of the Utah Jazz with the coronavirus, and then the following morning, just an hour or so ago, it was revealed that Mitchell also has contracted the virus. So 2 players testing positive, a number of players now in quarantine, and the league has suspended. And at the same time, over the last 24-48 hours, other sports leagues all over the world are suffering very, very similar fates. 3 Premier League soccer players going in isolation. McLaren F1 out of the Australian Grand Prix. So I would imagine by the time this video releases, it is entirely possible that this is the only content that we may get that is sports related, because the actual real life sports could be universally suspended until things are quarantined. For all we know, most of the entire world could be seeing a 2-week quarantine. I would not be surprised at all if there is a few day period to go out, gather limited supplies with some sort of restriction store-wise, and we could be facing that right now. I mean, everybody could be in their own homes, sending it out for 2 weeks, waiting for the spread of the virus to stop. With that, let's continue our playthrough here, where the NBA does endure. Knicks and Hawks, second round action. Wizards, Celtics, Blazers and Lakers, and Clippers and Pelicans. Yes, the Pelicans in the second round of the playoffs. Not just in the playoffs, but into the second round. And they lose their opening game to the Clippers. Oh, yeah, excuse me. Hawks beating the Knicks. Celtics scoring big, winning by 21. Blazers coming close, but losing by 9 to the Lakers, and it is the Clippers taking game 1 there. On to the second game of each series. New Orleans getting one against the Clippers, evening out that series. Blazers dropping a 5-point loss to the Lakers, so Lakers going up 2-0, Boston up 2, and Hawks up 2. Commanding position for 3 of the teams. Just one series is even at this point. New Orleans taking a second game. Wow. Hawks and Knicks now splitting that series. Lakers and Celtics each up 3-0. New Orleans winning again, 115-111. Blazers do get a win. Celtics have knocked off the Wizards to move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Likely joining the Hawks, but they still have one win to grab in the next 3 tries. Clippers winning. Lakers finish that series off. And it looks like the Hawks also finished there. So Pelicans and Clippers, the only one going to 6. Clippers are going to send it to 7, 112-92. We'll take a look at the box score for Game 7. As the New Orleans Pelicans, wow, New Orleans is Moving on to the conference finals. Dang. Apparently, they feel that... Oh, here's the box score. They feel that the addition of Williamson is enough to really turn that team around. Well, they've got more than just that, don't they? Ingram, Hayes, Morris, Holiday. It's a pretty good base. It's amazing how quickly they turned that around from losing their superstar to building for the future instantly, and very wise choice of putting Alonzo Ball on the bench where he can look like a decent player starting lineup with significant minutes. I think he's one of the most overrated players in all of basketball. Men's, women's, NBA, WNBA, college, high school. I'm not on the Ball train at all. Family, period, general, dad, sons, brothers, the whole lot of them. I am not on the bandwagon for that one. Hell no. Williamson's just 7 of 18, but he grabs 13 boards and 21 points, and it's enough for a plus 20 in the plus-minus column. While Paul George was a plus 18, and Schroeder was a plus 18 on the other side. You could see the bench, especially for the Clippers, it was absolutely manhandled by the Pelicans. A minus 38 for Dragic. Why would you leave him on the court with 6 turnovers, 5 fouls, 0 rebounds, and a minus 38? I mean, that is a recipe for disaster. That is giving away your season right there. Paul George also 6 fouls. Shamet 5 fouls. But that sounds like my team last night. Last game of the season, battling it out for second place in our league, and it was head to head. The winner was going to be second place. Well, we had to win by plus 7 to claim second place, and by the way, we won by plus 9. So close contest, but we were loaded with fouls compared to our opponent, and gosh, they probably only had 6-7 field goals in the game. The rest of their points all came from the free throw line, but because we were aggressive, the refs decided to call us tight, but not them. So the same amount of contact was not the same thing at the other side. That was their explanation to me at the half, and that was very confusing. What are we supposed to do? Head straight up, somebody lowers their shoulder and charges into you, and it's a blocking foul. Anyway, we won. And we got second place anyway, so who am I to complain, right? Right. All right, on to the conference finals. Final 4 teams await a spot for the NBA championship. Celtics and Hawks. Pelicans. Yeah, the Pelicans. And the Lakers and the Pelicans take game 1. Before long, they're going to be chirping mine, 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 mine. And the Celtics also claiming game 1. Lakers get back in game 2. And the Hawks back in game 2. So each series already destined for at least 5 games. Ooh, Pelicans winning huge in the 3rd game of that series. I believe Boston claimed the other one as well, yes. Boston leading 2-1. Pelicans going up 3-1. What the heck is going on here, people? We got a heck of a matchup. Celtics, Hawks, 2 apiece. Lakers just squeezing out a high-scoring affair, 136-132 to stay alive. Hawks pulling ahead in the other series. Each of these going to game 6 now. Lakers claiming that one to stretch it to 7. Celtics winning there. Both series headed for a decisive Game 7. What a way to play out the conference finals. Whew, good save, Squirrel. Good save, Squirrel. Sorry, I just happened to look outside. It's a beautiful morning here in the Northwest, and I have two trees that are in perfect view of my window outside, and these two trees are connected by this one branch, obviously only connected to one of the trees, but there's a short gap to this other one, and I see squirrels all day, every day, jumping from the one tree to that branch to bridge over to the other tree without having to go down to the fence line. But it teeters a bit when they land, and that squirrel flipped upside down, hung on, saved himself, and continued on. Wish you could have seen it. Let's move on. Game 7. It's going to be the Pelicans in the final and the Celtics. Let's go back a day and check out the box scores for both games. Celtics 12-point victors over the Hawks. They took care of things in the first half, 9-point lead at halftime. Gasol starting for the Celtics. How did that happen? Kemba Walker, 17 of 18 from the free throw line. You gotta be effing kidding me. He had all but 2 of the free throw attempts for the Celtics in the game. One-man show. Hayward off the bench, 1 of 10 from the three-point line, not doing them any favors. But Kemba Walker, the sole reason that the Celtics move on. And it is absolutely down to the referees putting him on the line over and 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 over. Did I get to 18 yet? I don't think so. Yeah, that's why. Trae Young, 8 of 21 shooting, not the greatest day, especially 2 of 11 beyond the arc. Just 4 rebounds. He does add 13 assists to go with his 20 points, but a minus 24 on the day. Edwards off the bench seemed to lead the charge. A good little run there. Beyond that, the Hawks just not getting anything done. Field goal percentage, no, it's free throw. It's free throw. Field goal percentage is similar. The Hawks, 54% from the line. 24 attempts, but they only made 13. Celtics, 20 attempts, and they made 19. It was Kemba Walker, 17 of 18 from the line, capitalizing on the opportunity given to him. And he is player of the game. Pelicans beating the Lakers by 7. Trailing at the half by 14, but an 11-point advantage in the third brings them back into the game, making it a 3-point game, entering the fourth, and then claiming the 10-point advantage in the fourth quarter, scoring 37 and 36, putting up over 70 points in the second half. Dang. That was a refuse-to-lose situation for the road team, which I was the road team last night, so a similar refuse-to-lose situation. Trailed at the half, fought back, close score at the end of the third, but still trailing, and then pulling away in the fourth. Very similarly. Williamson, better shooting, 50%, 13 boards to go with it, 5 assists, 21 points. Not completely dominant, though. It's Holiday, 13 of 19. Excellent shooting day. Ingram, Hayes both shooting well as to go with it. 7 assists, 6 boards. Doing a little bit of everything. 31 points. That's your player of the game, Jrue Holiday. Points in the paint. Huge advantage to New Orleans, which is crazy to think the fact that you've got Anthony Davis. Is LeBron playing power forward now as he gets slower and slower. So is it Davis and James down there? Difficult to think that they would get outscored. Really difficult to think that they would get outscored down low. Especially if you have Davis and Williamson matching up. Oh, that is mouth-watering right there. Williamson, 13 boards. Davis, 17. 13 of 25. I mean, they're both near that 50% mark. This Lakers lineup, though, once you get past the first two, there's not much there. There's not much there, and unless these are rookies from the last year or two to boost them out, but that would be a strange one, right? How would the Lakers get that when they won the championship 2 seasons ago and they were still near the top of the standings last season, and they've been there right here this season? So it's not like the Lakers have any draft picks happening right now. Well, whatever it may be, it's the Pelicans and the Celtics in the final. I'm still in shock as the Pelicans take Game 1, 117-111. Game 2, Pelicans stealing the second game by 10, and they're going to head home now? Or is it Celtics at Pelicans? No. Pelicans looking to sweep the NBA Finals and win what I think is the franchise's first championship. I don't think New Orleans has won one before. Of course, they were the Hornets. Do they retain the Hornets' history? I think they do. That's season in the books. I cannot believe it. In just 4 games, the Pelicans have won the NBA championship after both conference finals go all the way to 7 games. The Pelicans end up sweeping. It is time for the NBA draft lottery. Of course, we have missed out on that after making the playoffs. Do I have an extra draft pick? I don't even remember. Trading's not allowed at this time, so I couldn't even tell you. Alright. Well, let's jump into it. Sorry, that was a bit loud. Alright, here are the odds. It's the Thunder, Hornets, and Pistons with that 14% chance. Cavs at 12.5. Heat, 10.5. Raptors, 9. Bulls, Bucks, T-Wolves, Mavericks, Nuggets, Spurs, Warriors, and Grizzlies with very limited chances of getting into those top spots. Let's take it one pick at a time. Grizzlies, no surprise that they do not squeeze in any higher. Warriors, Spurs, Nuggets. We get down to the top 10 with no surprises as of yet. I don't think the next 2 will be a surprise, but after that, we very well could begin to see things shuffled up a little bit. Mavericks and T-Wolves do in fact stay put. Now with the top 8, I think we're high enough percentage chances that we could begin to see maybe Bulls instead of Bucks. Still the Bucks. Top 7 are the same. Bulls. Wow. No changes at all. So the top 6, no real extreme winners in this, unless, say Raptors go number 1. That would definitely be a shocker. Oh, wow. There's the Cavs. Both the Heat and the Raptors squeeze their way into the top, and the Cavs really losing out this year. But you've got to say, the Cavs as a franchise have been luckier than any other team when it comes to this because of their Cleveland ties to LeBron James. I mean, if we're being real for a minute here, they completely lucked out getting arguably the GOAT, or at least one of the greatest players of all time. And yes, he left for Miami, but then he came back. The worst franchise in the NBA stopped being the worst franchise in the NBA. But in the time that he left, they instantly went from the best in the East to having the first pick. And what the third pick? Right? They had the first and third pick, something like that. I mean, that was insane. And then the next year, even after having 2 picks in the top 3, they had the first pick again the following year. That's a good way to rebuild. Oh, and then LeBron came back, right? All the pieces weren't necessarily there any longer, but still. And he instantly turned them from the worst back to first again. And then he leaves for the Lakers. Ugh, why the Lakers? I hate the Lakers. I respect James. I'm not necessarily a fan, but I respect. At this age, he doesn't defend like he used to. But my argument for why he could potentially be the GOAT is he does it all. Jordan didn't do it all. On defense, one-on-one, he could get steals. On offense, he's a capable scorer. That's his game. And he might be the greatest scorer of all time. And he might be really good at getting steals when he's playing one-on-one defense. But there's a whole lot of holes in his game past those 2 things. Running an offense, creating for other players, rebounding, playing team defense. LeBron didn't have those issues. He does now, defensively. He's so slow now. Team defense is not good anymore, but for most of his career, every aspect, everything, rebounding, assisting, scoring, inside, outside, mid-range, getting to the foul line, playing defense individually and team, rebounding, both ends of the court. Can play any freaking position on the court, including coach on the sideline. Anyway, let's get to the top 5 picks. Thunder. Did you see what I'm seeing here? The team with the best chance does not get any of the lottery picks and slip all the way to 5th. So your top 4 lottery winners: Hornets, Pistons, Heat, and the Raptors, all the way down at 6, jumping into the lottery picks. Percentages aren't that bad, and that's why I like the new format. Discourages tanking more than the old format, which really strongly encouraged tanking. I do like the lottery that it does split that up a little bit, though honestly, some of the years how it's gone does beg that question of, is it rigged? Still like it better. Hornets, next best chance, slip to 4. Pistons, all of the top teams are out at 3rd or lower. The top 2 going to the 5th and 6th worst records, both from the East. Is it the Heat? Is it the Raptors? Neither deserve it. They've both had their championships in recent years. Both of them really lucking out in this lottery. They're in a terrible conference where the records were atrocious, and they still only have the 5th and 6th worst records. Though, you've got to kind of note that there's only one team in the West. in the bottom 8. Only one. And they slip all the way to 5th. East, and that worst record slips to 5th. West kind of got screwed out of this lottery. Second pick overall goes to the Raptors, and the Miami Heat will pick first in the draft. Tough day to be in one of those cities that got hung out to dry in that. So, final rankings as a team. We'll look here real quick on our player impact estimate, our pie chart. Fox at a 19. Walker jumps from first-year bench player, sixth man, to second-year starter and goes right up into having the second biggest impact. Barnes, though, that's our weakness. Man, oh man, we need to do something to fill that void at small forward and shift Barnes to the backup to Bagley, who himself is right there with Walker. Willie Cauley-Stein, I think, was a tremendous pickup for us with the mid-level exception. He's done a really good job, and I'm really happy with that one. And I'm very content to keep him on as a starter. He does enough, and with Bull behind him, you don't have to rely too heavily on his minutes. I like that pairing at center. I love the pairing of Bagley and Barnes at power forward. Of course, Fox and Bledsoe. And actually, I just saw a comment. I'm sorry, I can't name who it was that placed it. It is on the tip of my tongue. It's right there. It might come to me. But there was something in here about injury history. I don't know if that's going to show up in here as a thing. I'm not certain whether players with extreme injury history is something that this game calculates. So Eric Bledsoe has that history of missing some games, and you could see from the start of his career, he played 81 in the first season for the Clippers, but then he played 40. Got most of a season in and played 43. Got a season in, played 31. 66. Split the season in 2017. Played most games. 2018 with Milwaukee. 2019 still missed some games. 2020, you can see he split 66 between Milwaukee and New York. That still missed some time. And then went from New York to Detroit. That's harsh. And 2021. Yeah, Bledsoe's been well-traveled the last couple seasons. But for me, that's solid. 10 points a game, 4 assists, a couple of rebounds. I mean, that is a good backup compared to what we have, and it is certainly an upgrade if he can stay healthy. Career best, he's had a game with 36, he's had a game with 17 and 10. He won a title. Let's see, when would that have been? Not with the Clippers, not with Phoenix. Milwaukee? In game? New York didn't win. Oh, now I'm confused. Milwaukee doesn't have a title. Phoenix doesn't have a title. Clippers didn't have a title back then. So, to answer that question, I have no idea about injury history and what might contribute to any of that. 2021 awards, let's go ahead and move forward and check those out. We're just about to the end of this episode. I don't think we're in a position really for much of anything. Though, actually, hold on. Let's go to the development league for just a second. Are there no... Patrick Thompson, that's my guy, right? Yes. So Patrick Thompson made the all-league first team. That was our draft pick from last year, late first round. We sent him down to the development league because of the depth that we had. Give him a chance to develop. He absolutely can contribute, and I think he could be a better fit in the coming season at that small forward position. Not necessarily as starter, though, as like the second man. With the pieces we have now, that would give us 9. We'd still need to fill that 1, and I'd be certainly ready to throw everything else out, draft picks, any players past those 9 into some sort of package to try to fill that void, or maybe trading somebody like Thompson with whatever package to get that first, to get that starting forward, and then still have kind of the one piece to go as the second, as the depth behind that small forward. But I am ready to throw the book into whatever. So he does make the all-league first team. But let's get back to the NBA awards. Doncic gets MVP. 31 points per game, nearly double-digit assists per game, 9 rebounds a game. He damn near got a triple-double on average. 2 steals a game, half blocks per game. Davis gets Defensive Player of the Year, no surprise there. He's a stud on defense. Mitchell Robinson for New York takes 6th Man of the Year. Ruben Sura took Rookie of the Year at just 6.5 points per game. Center for the Heat. And meanwhile, it's Lloyd Pierce of the Atlanta Hawks at 63-19, claiming Coach of the Year. All-League first team, Doncic, Harden, Leonard, Davis, and DeAndre Ayton. All-League second team, Trae Young, Booker, George, Giannis, and Anthony Towns. Third team, Kemba Walker, Mitchell, Middleton, Williamson, and Embiid. Defense. He plays defense? How's he on the first team? Sorry, I'm a hater. When it comes to him, you know that. Murray, Mitchell, George, Giannis Robinson. Rookies. Of course, we didn't play our rookie this year, so we were not in any sort of contention for that. And that's it. We begin the preparations for next season. I'm going to handle a few steps off camera at least before we get into that next episode, and then we will jump into our preparations at an appropriate time. But that's going to do it for this one. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. The New Orleans Pelicans are your 2022 NBA championship. We remain without one, but through 3 seasons, I think we are on the verge of becoming contenders. Let's take this call, and then we'll stop at that point. Quick chat, tell me, how do you rate your performance this season? I was pleased. Well, you met my expectations for quality of the team despite spending more than we had agreed upon. Would you like to come back for another season? Yes, I will. And there you go. See you later. Have a good one. Be safe. Bye for now.